Twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, hackerhamin.podbean.com, Hamin Media Group.podbean.com. May I kick a little something for the G's and make a few ends as I breeze through 2 in the morning, and the party's still jumping because Man B stay home. He's back here in the Monday Locker Room Infidels with Hacker Hamin, and we're about to tear down the scene to kick off the week here on the Monday Locker Room. Yalla. Yes, we're back, and you might hear that background noise as we are back in printing action, man, as I got one of the 3D printers back up and running. I got some maintenance to do on the other ones. We figured out what one of the problems were, or I did anyway, when we, the collective we of online, but the collective we are back for the Monday Locker Room, and there's nobody else I'd rather be riding shotgun with than the mama man gimmicks. Good morning, buddy.
You know, I really got to work on. I think the alternator or the whatever it is, it doesn't work quite correctly. I got to do the pulling over and over again when you announce my name. So I think, you know, we got to work on getting that fixed too.
I think we got to take a look at the carburetor. The carbs got to be cleaned. Yeah,
sometimes you got to clean out the carbs.
Yep,
you got to clean out the carbs.
Got to get rid of them. You know, strictly business. But it's good to see you, Beast. Yellow bow tie and all. Looked like you got the world heavyweight title from back in Atlantis behind you on the wall there. I mean,
there it is.
One of the oldest world titles of all time. Before the old world title, not the new world title. So good to see you, buddy. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Wife and I guess celebrated kind of like our anniversary. It's just when we started dating every year, we always get pizza. Well, we used to go to Old Chicago, but all the Old Chicago's in Louisville closed. So we're like, well, let's find another place that has Chicago style pizza. Found this place in Louisville called Jake and Elwood's, and I'll say, if you're around Chicago, go get Chicago pizza. But if you're not around Chicago and you're around Louisville, check out Jake and Elwood's. It probably was the best pizza I've ever had in Louisville, to be fair. And Ben, I think you would have actually approved of this one. There was no weird ingredients. It was straightforward. The crust was on point, nothing fancy, and it was all about the sauce. The sauce was the star of the show. And it's very, very good stuff.
Well, yeah, from visual inspection, from what it was, it looked like an official Chicago pie. And if you open a place called Jake and Elwood's, you better be serious about what you're putting out there, Chicago food-wise. Do you know the reference or no?
I do not, actually.
Okay, Jake and Elwood are the Blues Brothers, Belushi and Dan Aykroyd.
Okay, that makes sense then.
I wouldn't doubt if everything on their menu is Chicago beef. That looks like a real art.
Yeah, the pizza we got was called the Comiskey Park Pizza.
Well, there you go, South Side. Yeah,
very good stuff.
I would have gone with Whacker Drive, but that's me. Did they have beef sandwiches there and Chicago hot dogs?
Yeah, they had Chicago hot dogs, Italian beef. They also had a couple like unique, just things for the restaurant. Like they had a Kentucky poutine that we got. It was just French fries, cheese curds, and beer cheese, and that was on point too.
That sounds pretty damn good, actually.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting spot, but they're definitely making Chicago pie the right way, it looks like to me. So I'm glad you guys had a good little date anniversary, man. My best to her. And I know the new PMS podcast is up there on the Hamin Media Group, and people were loving that too. So
yeah,
a lot going down on Mrs. Beast's front.
Really liking it, and so we'll keep producing the podcast. I told her I think she should keep it a monthly podcast because it only makes sense. It's WPMS, right? It's got to come once a month.
People also loving the new Rip Rogers Hustler podcast up now, episode 7 with the man Beast himself. I got to change the graphic. I keep putting myself over on there, not you. Just upload it. I was like, oh shit, I'll do it next week. But yeah, man, I appreciate all the awesome stuff you've done with Rip. 5 unbelievable episodes back to back to back. And people are just loving every bit of that at patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. So go over there, check it out, you guys. There's plenty to get you through the holidays and make people laugh. But all the comments are, this is quickly becoming my favorite podcast anywhere and all that. And I knew it would be. So super excited to have that out there. And I also put out what is the highest rated, highest viewed segment in both of our histories. You know what that was? Did you see it or no?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
You guys, it has 9.6 million views on my YouTube channel.
The bra and panties match from DCW.
Bra and panties DCW. I'll watch along part 3. It's Lady Sojo versus Melody, both at their peak of sex appeal, I'd say, and an awesome bra and panties match, how it should be worked. And that match caught fire a couple of years ago in India and just went around the world. And then we close with the Grape Gin Connection and Lumpy Magoo versus Theta Lambda Psi. So a great watch along this weekend for sexy, for funny, and also for the education of Rip Rogers. So
I'll tell you what I really like about that bra and panties match is you have someone that is a ring veteran and someone that's kind of her own, I guess a journey woman in wrestling. In Josie, she's just been around the block. She knows her shit and worked that match in how you would from a psychological standpoint work it, and it was very, very good. And honestly, it's one of those things. So first of all, I mean, it's kind of a bygone era type thing. I feel like in the modern day of 2020, you can't have bra and panty matches anymore because it's women's empowerment thing.
Yeah.
But then you go back and see a match like that and see you can actually work it in a way that is. That tells a story in the ring. And although, the bra and panties and I guess sexuality was a part of it, but it worked within the context of the story they were telling. And just if you get a chance, check it out. It was very well done, especially when you consider those matches are just, all fluff and just filler. That actually had some stuff.
It had a lot of heat in it. That was a struggle. It wasn't just, oh my God, I'm sexy and in my underwear. It was a struggle. And it's a struggle to get up in the morning for the Monday monologue, for the Monday locker room. But Matt Schaffer's here. Jargo's in the house as well, you guys. Matt saying the new Mando Mania just dropped with another run-in from the Impact X Division champion. Rohit Raju is back. So awesome, man, to have him on there, especially with the biggest week in Impact with AEW coming over. Want to say what's up to Daniel Price first in the chat room this morning waiting on us. Frank's Pickle Barrel asks, Weird Tweak wants pineapple on his pizza. Sorry, bud, you're fired. And Fudge 420's in the house too, man. So appreciate all you guys joining us here, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. Kick your week off. It's going down, man. But I jumped the spot there. I would like it to go down. Can we get the Monday morning monologue a little bit earlier, buddy?
All right. You know what? I'll see what I can do. I'll stretch out a little bit. Why not? Let's just get into it. Today, December, what is it? The 7th, it's Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, but I don't play a terrorist. And so I can't make jokes about that, but I did also look at the days of the year. It's also apparently Walt Disney Day. I can make jokes about that. So, well, we'll mix in a little bit of Walt Disney magic with a little bit of wrestling and have ourselves a little bit fun. This is the Monday Morning Monologue. Ladies and gentlemen, dreams do come true. And like Quasimodo, I have a hunch at least one of these jokes are going to be funny. So let's get into it. By the way, before we get into wrestling, I do have 2 big Disney fun facts for you. Disney fact number 1, the Little Mermaid wears seashells because B shells would be too small and D shells would be too big. I don't know if you knew that, Ben. And then also Disney fact number 2, Peter Pan's favorite thing to eat, Wendy's. Who would have thought? All right, back to the wrestling. But I will say I am curious if Liv Morgan was in a Disney movie, would it be called Finding Emo? I don't know. Anyway, in the newest video on her YouTube channel, Ronda Rousey takes a stroll down the street with her pet donkey named Millie. I'm not honestly sure who the intended audience was for, but I'm sure some jackass somewhere is going to like it. No, but seriously, if you're out there in cyberspace trying to look for pictures of Ronda's ass, you're probably going to wind up with things you weren't looking for. Just saying. Also, in other news, AEW star MJF shared a tweet last week revealing that he got a victory breakfast from his grandmother, Moo, after he was named the New York Times Best Performer of 2020 for Le Dinner Debonair. MJF shared a clip of Moo delivering a warning to Orange Cassidy, who MJF faces on next week's Dynamite in the Dynamite Diamond Final. Moo stated, Orange Cassidy, just like this challah bread, you're toast. Beautiful, bravo. Yeah. MJF's grandma Moo. Sting, made his debut last week on AEW Dynamite, and apparently it's the first appearance of many to come, as AEW has confirmed he signed a full-time deal, which I can only assume is just setting up the eventual rematch with RoboCop. Speaking of robot or androids, I was wondering this: BB hungry? No, BB-8. See, brought back the Disney in there.
Right.
See what I did? In a recent interview with John Alba and Doug McDonald, speaking of Sting, by the way, on the Living the Gimmick Patreon, which totally sucks. The only Patreon you should go to is the Hamin Media Group Patreon and the Vince Russo. I mean, there's some good Patreons, not that one. But anyway, I digress. The Young Bucks on this Patreon discussed a variety of topics, including the noteworthy addition of AEW Dynamite when Sting came out, and they talked about how the workers backstage reacted to the arrival of Sting in AEW, indicating that some were very excited, but for those that were looking for more TV time, it stung. And you know what? I'd usually end with a wrestling joke, but this week I want to end with one more Disney fact and something that I don't think many people realize, and it's simply this. When Cinderella finally did get to the ball, you know what she did? She gagged. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Monday Morning Monologue.
Yeah, Dr. Dirty, Dr. Gimmicks, Dr. Ted. I like that. Keeping it racy this morning. Hopefully you have a couple of coffee spit takes across your dashboard or in your cubicle. That was great stuff, Beast, as always, man. Thank you. And Disney jokes always over as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, man, it was great Mandalorian this week too. I enjoyed that. I don't know if you saw that, man.
I did. I almost wanted to get into it, but I'm afraid I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that hasn't watched. But I will say it was a big episode, especially if you're well versed, I guess, in the canon of Star Wars and knowing some of the bigger side characters. It was a really good episode. I liked it a lot.
I think you were right on, though. I think they are laying the groundworks for Baby Yoda to be a Sith motherfucker.
Yeah, which would be great. I hope play that up.
Evil Yoda. People are going to be hot when he flips.
I hope so. I hope they do play that out. It's one of those things that I hope they don't shotgun it. I mean, and I can't say anything. They've done a great job so far, so I'm not going to, armchair book this. But I'm really excited for the possibilities of what they've kind of laid out for what could happen going forward on The Mandalorian.
Me too. And I know your Chicago Bears had a tough weekend again. I picked them two ways in a parlay, but all my parlays got wiped out because of the fucking Tennessee Titans versus Browns. I didn't double back on Browns. I thought after last week's Browns were good, but I thought the Titans were going to trounce them, and then just got fucking murked in the first half. So I lost like 14 parlays, which is only about $15 because I only bet one or two at a time. But I picked the whole sheet. And dude, they were all up to 10 or 11 parlays in that one game. Fuck me. I could have been up $300-400 on $15, man. I did okay on UFC, so I'm still in the black this week, but nowhere near where I could have been. I'm only up about $16-17, and I could have been up $200-300 if the Titans would have come through, cocksuckers. That's what they call it, gambling. But I appreciate all the guys over there, John Hartnett, Javid, and Blake Troop on Cage Theory, giving us the hot tips going into UFC. That was a fun long watch along. I started at 7, or I started at 8, went to 1 in the morning, bro.
Damn.
Long show. And they canceled 3 matches on the card.
Thank God.
Knockouts. It was serious, bro. So it was a good time, man, watching along this weekend. I finally got one of the 3D printers back up and running, as you can hear it in the background. Maybe.
Oh, very, very soothing.
Yeah, very soothing. Oh, dude, hypnotic, to be honest with you. Like, you could just sit there and watch them just. You just get entranced by it.
It almost reminds me, do you remember they used to have, like, the occasional team at Target, you'd have those little machines where they had like the automated cards that it would make for you, and you could like customize it on the screen and start making the card.
It's exactly like that. Instead of ink, though, it's laying down plastic.
Wow.
So you can watch it for hours and hours and hours. But printing out, hopefully it looks like it's doing good. It's not peeling off or anything like that. Glock 26 pistol. Go to CTRL PEW, Control Pew, if you want to make legal ghost guns, and download all of the plans right there. He's got them all.
Wow. Pretty amazing.
Control Pew. It's cool just to check him out on Twitter, CTRL PEW, Control Pew.
And see, when you're Ben Hamin, you got to deal with all the weapons, whether it be guns. And we got you're creating a bomb coming up, from what I understand.
Bomb this week. We're gonna be bombing on Wednesday, so I'll give the stooge for that right now. Actually, that's a great segue, Beast. So you guys know it's a free month at Russo's brand, and we've done such a great job with our community builders. Our community builders have done a great job, and all of you watching now and your participation, whether it's Discord, Hamin Media Discussion Group, Hamin Media Office, if you're a producer, Russo's brand fan group, wherever it is, on YouTube, on Twitch, subscribing to all that. So what we want to do is really push that Russo's brand subscription free month to try and gain another 1,000 subscribers over there at least. So we're going to put out a Twitter bomb to try and take over Twitter with a hashtag on Wednesday at about 2:50 p.m. Eastern, because we're going live at 3 p.m. on twitch.tv/Vince Russo Live. So what we want to do is really try and shake up Twitter, and I think we have enough hardcore subscribers right now to put it all out at the same time that we can get that trending, to try and get the, it's just about the awareness of Russo's brand free month. And once they come over here from wherever they are, Meltz or whoever, they're not going back. You guys know you're not going back. You're not going back to 15-year mortgage town. Not when you got the real deal right here in front of you talking every week, whether it's Hamin Media Group, producers and veteran talent, or if it's at Russo brand. So we're going to ask you guys to join us about 2:45, 2:50 on Wednesday Eastern, and I'll have the whole message put out. We'll put it out in all of our Discord, like I said, Facebook groups. And then if you guys can share it at that time calculated, we're going to drop the bomb on social media and show them what Hamin Media Group is really all about. So appreciate you guys. If you're going to join the bomb squad, let's get the chat going in the Discord. Let's get it going in Hamin Media Group, and let's get the buzz so everybody can make sure they participate, you guys. But we're going to start using this community and group power to our advantage, whether it's for marketing, for awareness, and whatnot. But the cells are greenlit, so strap up, infidels. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time to take the war back to the digital streets, and Hacker Hamin commands you rise and praise, infidels. Get ready for Twitter Bomb Wednesday. Yalla.
I'm excited for this, man. This is kind of a cool, just internet thing, and people utilize it for all kinds of, different things they want to put over. So I'm excited for this. This is kind of cool. And, based on our data trends, it looks like, that's going to be a good time for us to put it up. And I'm just interested to see what comes about and making people, I guess, kind of wake up and see what we got going on over here. So I'm excited for it. I even was, with your, I guess, the guidance was like, it'd be cool to have a bomb squad shirt. So I came up with a design. You all can tell me what you all think of it for those that are watching on Twitch or on YouTube. What do you think of that, huh? Hamin Bomb Squad.
I love that shit right there, man. That is awesome.
It's cool.
That's awesome. Appreciate it. The Culture Vulture shirts are getting to people. See, Frank got his. Scott Simpson's in the house with Monday Morning Monologue Monday. We already had it, pal. You got to go back and listen. But yeah, we appreciate you guys being here, man. And definitely get your wiring right. Get your vests out, because we're going to start putting you guys into action. You know what I mean? And we appreciate that. And we had 2,000 live viewers when we were on twitch.tv 2 weeks ago, Wednesday, on their sports channel being featured. And I hope we can get that number even higher and start converting some of those people, man, and even growing this awesome community out at a more rapid pace, because we've got so many brands that we're going to launch, so many shows that people are unaware of. And when they find them, they're just brand loyalists. I've been getting great messages from you guys on Podbean, on Patreon, how much you're loving everything. I got some hate this week, though, and I expected it, because when you attack people's memory or childhood, they have an adverse reaction when they hear a truth that they don't want to hear.
Oh, the Boy Meets World crew got mad at you.
Well, I don't care about those infidels. That's just But I did cut the promo on. I don't hate Sting, but I think he's way overrated. I think his career was phenomenal, and he doesn't give a shit about what I have to say, because he's a millionaire who's a legacy of over Ben Hamin all day, every day. But at the same time, I don't sugarcoat how I didn't really enjoy him that much, how he's kind of a knockoff of 4 other wrestlers, where I say good artists create and great artists steal and make it their own. He just steals. and doesn't make anything his own. He just becomes the Joker or the Crow or fucking Ultimate Warrior and uses Brett and fucking Ric Flair's offense. Like, there's not much there for me to hang on to, and there never was. And I never, even Undertaker, I've been a fan of mythic gimmicks. I always like workhorses. I like snap suplexes. I like fucking neck breakers. I like shit talkers. I don't believe in heaven or hell, so why would I believe in any fucking spooky? It's a spooky gimmick. Ooh. None of that shit. None of that shit ever fucking entertained me.
Do you feel that way about Undertaker?
Yes, I don't like. Okay. I don't give a fuck about Undertaker, Kane. Like, when I was coming, I was like, "Oh, the Druids are here, and he's really dead." No, even 91. I guess because what he was 1990 or 91 Survivor Series.
91, I think. 91.
So I'm already 15 years old, 14 years old. So like all that little shit to me, like maybe if I was 6 and I started with that, I'd feel different. But, you know, like I said, you think Undertaker and Sting are sweating what Ben Hamin thinks about him? I don't think so. Hello, Granny. Hello, Ben Hamin. I heard you were burying my mythic gimmick. Yeah, I don't like any of that shit. And they didn't like it either when I fucking tore down Sting. But guess what? Sting's got a multi-year contract for multi-millions of dollars. Is it a waste of money? Absolutely. I would have hired him for 6 times, $25K a piece, $150,000, help him to get Orange Cassidy over. Now you have the world's most expensive corner man, and you look like even more of a money mark hiring him because he can't do shit in the ring. Not that he could really do much.
Now, when he came out, Ben, he did make it snow in Florida. So, I mean, that is something.
He did. He was back there cutting up white garbage bags all night long to make no props. Great stuff, everybody. All elite Benny do. I see you. But yeah, man, if you like the Stinger and you like Taker, don't let my opinion sway you. If you likes what you fucking likes, man. But if you got some way to feel about it, go start your own fucking podcast and talk about it, because my name's on the door here, and I'm not going to change my history to be like, Stinger's back, everybody, until Tony Khan puts Hamin Media Group on the payroll to about the tune of $45,000 like he has Wrestle Inc. and every other place. Until then, I'm going to say when Sting stunk, he stunk. So that's that, man. Some people are hot about it, but he's the one who had the biggest spot of the week. It was awesome. It was awesome at that AEW pay-per-view to see him walk out the spectacle. But then they're like, within that first 10 minutes, I just got word that Sting's been signed to a multiple-year deal. All right, let's pull that off. Next week, Sting's coming back, and he's going to speak. What? Sting shouldn't say shit for six weeks, 6 months if you wanted to. Just shows that we're in complete mark-out nostalgia mode. And for the guys who we're not going to go back and hire legends or future endeavored guys. We're going to just make our own dudes. Well, sure you are. And we've learned nothing. Why would you go to battle with the generals who lost the war 2 times already?
And that's weird because Sting is. I mean, he cuts a fine promo, but it's not like he was known like you got to hear when Sting talks. You know what I mean. And like you said, we played up before. You know, the mysteriousness of Sting. It seems like it would. It seems like it'd be almost a natural story to bring him in, and then people are asking why is Sting here, and every time they try to ask him a question, he winds up not saying anything and goes. You know what I mean? It finds a way to cut out of the camera, and then eventually, when he does talk months down the line, it's meaningful and makes a bigger impact instead of saying, well, we're going to have him talk next week. Yeah, that's just kind of strange. Seems like it's very much being shotgunned, especially if he is going to be here for the long haul. Why is the business being pushed ahead so quickly?
I can't remember one Sting promo in my whole goddamn life.
Yeah, I can't either. You know what I mean? And I don't remember, you know, I feel like I would remember if there was bad promos. I'm not saying it was necessarily bad, but not necessarily meaningful. Like a Ric Flair, like when he grabs the mic, you know, it's going to be something gold. It's just, you know, he does what the business is and that's it. And it's just kind of like, okay. You know, there it is.
On next week. Yeah, woo! I'm here, baby. And here's my son, too. He wants to be a wrestler. Yeah. It's nothing but the nepotism. Use your own fucking nostalgia, star power draw to get your own kid in there to be standing in the fucking crowd so he can get on camera, whether it's Billy Gunn, whether it's Taz, you know, like that. It's just going to become that, bro. And
you think they're going to call Sting's son Bite? What if it's Bug Bite?
Yeah, because
well, Bug Bite.
Yeah. Bug Bite now. Yeah, man. But they were just hot. Some people like. Usually I'm down, but once you said that about Sting, I couldn't take it anymore on the locker room. You're so wrong. Am I? I'm the one who fucking watched every episode of the Monday Night Wars consecutively back to back. And then I did it all again at OVW. I've sat through it brutal minute by brutal minute and haven't missed a second of it. I'm pretty sure my opinion is very well founded and grounded, just not my cup of tea. But if you enjoyed it, red and black NWO, fucking surfer dude, whatever. And that's also, to me, not reinvention of yourself. That's never being able to find a character that works. How many times have I switched from Ben Hamin? Of course, I've never been on TV, so it never really works. So you can make that argument too. Integrity to your character is what it is. If you're throwing shit against the wall because of a movie that's hot and you can come out as Joker, you're really not doing fuck all. You're really not doing nothing. Big NXT pay-per-view last night, War Games. People are putting it over because these kids are killing themselves for next to not promoted show. And here they are, massive bumps, a fair amount of injuries. I think Candice LeRae might have a broken wrist or arm. Lacerations, people getting color. Finn Balor saying, no, watch out, it's about the Prince all again. Oh, is it? Oh, this show wasn't even promoted, so I didn't even know you were wrestling. So it's all about the Prince, apparently.
And then they teased Karrion Kross. He said, you all want to injure yourselves. Well, guess what? I'm going to come back from injury and then injure you all over again.
That's right.
Something along those lines.
Shout out Killer Kross, man. I mean,
it doesn't look like he's going to make his way back, so I am excited for that. And I hope he can stay healthy this time and has a nice long run ahead of him.
Society 858 says 4 to 5 major injuries last night. Well, that's important. As you know, you've been talking to Rip, and Rip will tell everybody it ain't a good show unless somebody gets injured. You know, that's what it. No.
He said you only have so many bumps on your bump card, so fill them up as quick as you can.
And get out of there. No, Rip would say, don't be a fucking retard. Start working smart. Stop doing these idiotic spots, especially in front of no fucking crowd. Heels get heat, meat chop heat, and be a vicious motherfucker instead of getting your shit in so we can all work safely and all go down the road and work next week. Instead, we've got 4 or 5 major injuries where people are going to be on the shelf at least for a week to multiple months.
Yeah, and there's no reason for it. I mean, I think it comes down to, you know, not making excuses, but the pressure of, you know, putting on this incredible performance when in actuality you're going to get you more over if you just concentrate on doing a few things really well and just really concentrate on the story and the character. And it's just like, I don't understand how people don't get it, because when you see it happen and do it correctly, it works. You know what I mean? Look at, you know, The Rock, look at Stone Cold, Chris Jericho, Ric Flair. I mean, anyone that made their name, what got them over? It was the character work and the story. It wasn't, you know, some crazy shit that they did in the ring. And it's like, well, now I like him now that he took that big bump. No, you get that exciting pop. And I think that's what people work towards. And it's like, well, the pop doesn't mean anything in the long term. It's getting over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is getting over. Media M5, I got to disagree with you fully. I appreciate where your heart is there, checking in on YouTube, Ben Hamin channel. Also saw our old Athers, the bomb maker himself. He's over there getting things wired right for Wednesday for the Twitter bomb. But Media M5 worked in Kentucky for many years, where there's a commission, a very lazy, corrupt, and pork-bellied commission. They don't do shit to help promote your show. I know you can come back. They didn't do shit to help promote your shows. they'd show up just to act important, and guys who were smoking weed or whatever they were on would run in fear of being drug tested, which, you know, that's the price you pay. But this is post Benoit, so they're just looking to pop guys just so they could make themselves feel good and ruin a guy's career for 6 months and take him on and put him on the shelf in Kentucky, which the word would ultimately get back to WWE, which is far more devastating. So now you're on the shelf for 6 months in Kentucky, and WWE knows that you're whatever, and they can hold that shit against you or over your head. I've seen that with more than a half a dozen people. And then the people that you have to go. So every year that you want to wrestle, you got to spend $30 in Kentucky to go get your license renewed from somebody who looks like Jabba the Hutt sitting at a desk, who is that's the person who decides whether or not you're a pro wrestler, some secretary who prints it out on a plastic card because you got a physical from a doctor. That's the only criteria, is paying and filling out a one fucking form sheet, having your physical, and fucking going there to pay that man his money. And fucking that's the pork belly fat motherfuckers that they are there. It's nothing but a fucking scam. They don't help promote shows. They don't care about the boys' safety or health. They don't check, against other shows. They just want to shut shows down. I think commissions are the most corrupt and worst thing there is in fucking wrestling. Absolutely.
I don't disagree with that, except for just the way the commissions are being ran is not at all good. I agree with that. That being said, I think if they were put in place the right way, they could actually be a benefit to the business, but they just simply aren't executed in that manner. Imagine if you had someone that actually had been in the wrestling business, understands the concept of wrestling and what needs to be done to promote these shows, and actually tried to do the right thing and help these promotions. I agree, because just getting a physical from a doctor, who the fuck cares? It doesn't mean that you're in shape and good to go. Like I would want to see some minimum standard of health. I wouldn't, say you have to get X amount of push-ups or whatever like that, but I'd say at the very least be able to work up your heart rate to sub-maximum levels without fucking killing over. You know what I mean? Like there's simple tests that you can do with that. As a physical therapist, I could easily administer those kind of tests. And if you had someone that was, again, in the business and did the right thing, I think commissions could be a good thing. But unfortunately, when you fill them up with people that don't have any understanding of wrestling and are just looking to fatten the pocketbooks of people and the bureaucrats in government, then yes, then it's just going to be corrupt, and it's a terrible system. And that seems to be what has taken place in a lot of these state wrestling commissions across the country. But I do think if executed properly, there could be a place for commissions, but it comes down to just that. It has to be done in the right way.
Yeah, I don't ever see that happening.
Maybe not. You might be right.
Utopian view of it, but you're talking about government officials who are marks to start with. Usually if they're in the boxing and they're not they're just fans that got that political because they're up higher. And then once money rolls in, it fucks everything up, and they get comfortable making 45 to 75 to 100 grand a year if they fucking want to, and they're not going to give that up. And they just stay in these positions until they can retire with a fucking state pension. And even if you were to get an ex-wrestler in there, money fucks up everything. No worker is going to leave 50 grand on the table when he can start doing deals and working the promoters than fucking having the power over them. It's all bad. It's never been good, and there isn't one of them that isn't a corrupt motherfucking cocksucker that shouldn't be taken down to the mats and ground right out of their fucking capital system. It's brutal. And they're all wrong, every single one of them. So, and they don't do anything to help the industry ever that I've seen. So, and you're talking about boxing and any of that, go back to everything in the 20s. It's as corrupt as it's ever been. And UFC had a worked fight. Absolutely. And I was not getting into it with Hartnett. And I don't doubt that this guy is a fighter, but this dude Levitt fights Wyman on UFC this weekend. Dude, Wyman is a decent fighter. He jumps and pulls fucking standing guard on the guy wrapped around him. Levitt takes him over to the corner, posts on his fucking head, and just gives him one slam with a forearm coming down, and his head hits the fucking and knocks him out in like 13 seconds. Oh. Levitt gets up and like, all right, I've been doing theater a long time. My gaydar is pretty strong, right? I knew this dude on the way to the ring was pretty effeminate. and he gets up. They do 2 of the fucking dirty dancing lifts with his corner man. Lifts him. He runs, and his corner man lifts him over his head like ballet, bro. This guy is going to be your first out of the closet gay champion in UFC. This fight was a complete work. Wyman took some type of payoff to dead cell and get, because the longer a work goes in UFC, the more chance there is to be exposed. They did a little meat on meat, pal, and fucking he hit him with the slam, and that was it. Wyman gets his kayfabe bonus, and who knows, maybe a Tony Award or a 2-picture deal and something. But they're definitely pushing for an openly gay champion, and that Levitt fight is a complete work. They're also pushing to get into China, because last week when they had it too, the Chinese dude fucking didn't even barely touch the guy on the knockout. Whoop, over he fucking goes. So my point being, whether it's 1920s before there was pro wrestling and fights were completely fixed and everybody was in on it, and you're in a corrupt carny industry, till right now in UFC, there's works on every fucking fight that back the marketing of where they want to go with it. So nothing changes in this business. It's just how well can you get away with it, and can you keep it kayfabe? But real workers know, of what's going on, dude.
Oh, absolutely. I do like to hear, though, like we've had the women's revolution. Maybe this is the gay empowerment revolution that we're going to get. I like that, though. A tough gay guy, and I say play that up. You say you want to face me? Well, suck my dick.
I'm gonna suck you off after the match,
and then I'll suck yours.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing for that, and that's a big part of even most YouTube views. If you go on Ryback versus Anthony Bravado on my fucking YouTube channel, 90% of the comments are all gay dudes. Look at these 2 big muscle hunks and all this shit, dude. Of course, guys are fucking turning in. Gay guys are turning into that. And I'm sure the gay mafia is pushing for an openly gay champion. I said to Hartnett, I go, you watch this. 2 years. Here's what's going to happen. Levin, I can't remember his fucking, it starts with a J. I can't remember his first name, I think. He goes and keeps doing this stuff that are like suspect things where we know that he's gay or whatever without him saying it. They push him to the title. He wins. Comes out as an openly gay man, first ever openly gay UFC champ. Smart marketing. From there, he starts to transition from Jason to Judy, whatever his name is, and fucking from there, first time out, wins the women's UFC championship as a transitional male too. That is what the gay mafia wants. That is what they will fucking. I'm telling you, it's coming, bro.
I don't like that. I'm all about the gay empowerment thing, but the having a guy compete as a woman, that's just physically, you know what I mean?
By 2022, he wins the men's title, and 2020 by end of 2023, he starts transitioning and maybe wins the women's title by that 2024, 2025.
And I'll say the reasoning for that, I'm all about, equality, live the life you want to live, be the person you want to be. But when it comes down to it, as if you were born as a male and you are competing in a physical fight against a female, no matter what amount of hormone therapy or whatever you use to convert, you were still born a male, and you're still given a huge advantage over these women who are fighting at a huge disadvantage. And to me, that's just, it comes down to the physical aspects of a technical fight. It's not a fair fight at that point.
I get that, but there's a couple of women who probably should have been born men as well. So maybe you are even in the fucking score if you've got, a cyborg level chick in there. But no, I'm with you on that, but it doesn't matter, because when they get to that level, it's going to be a work anyway, because it's all the gay mafia behind it to fucking confuse and do all that shit. When the dude is doing 2 fucking dirty dancing lifts after a fucking 14-second knockout, and then here was the work part of it too. They do the fucking interview post, right, where he goes over there, he's not blown up at all, and he's very, slightly effeminate, not very, slightly effeminate. And he goes, where you been training that? He goes, yeah, I watched that in 3 different fights, and I knew that was going to be effective if we did that. And then he goes, I can't remember what the fights were, but, we've been working on that slam. Dude, if I'm stealing spots from somebody especially, and I know it's from 3 different fights, I can tell you the fucking fight it was from, who's in the match, what event it was from, the setup beforehand. This shit is a complete work. And it's things like that as a worker that stooge it off to me. Oh yeah, I've been working on the crossface fucking hug 'em slam nonstop. And that's what I'm glad he came out with a full body lock on me so I could hit that, because we've been studying that. But I don't remember what matches those are from. Get the fuck out of here, bro. It exposed the entire work to me as a worker. Maybe marks don't fucking see that shit, but when you don't have those little bases covered in your promo and the fucking setup for it, it's completely exposed to me. So my advice, bet on that guy, because Gay Mafia's behind him, pushing him, and they're going to work all his matches to push him to the top. Bet on anybody from China, because they're trying to break in there. There's your inside fucking info. Don't bet on any Koreans, because they always fucking lose. Oh, y'all, beast. It was an interesting weekend. 5 hours of UFC fights.
Jesus. It's like they're competing with indie wrestling. Who can have the longest card?
Yeah, I know, bro.
Who can tire out their fans more than the other group?
There were some good knockouts, a couple good nose breaks and shit like that, stuff you can't work. So you need that kind of stuff to make the work believable. But the work's believable here at Hamin Media Group as we keep it going. A lot of people enjoyed our whiskey tasting beast. I wouldn't mind doing another one of those this week. I really been putting on that Bernheim. I'm halfway through the bottle already. Yeah,
I've already just about killed that new riff myself. So I mean, it's good stuff. Some good bourbon.
Good.
Although I realized afterwards that the Bernheim actually was a wheat whiskey and not a bourbon, and so I think you were correct about the wheat percentage being on 51% on that. So I think I looked it up afterwards. I was like, shit, I called it a bourbon the whole time, but it drinks like a bourbon.
It does.
The sweetness of it, but yeah, it is different in that the makeup of it technically isn't a bourbon, but it's very solid.
Not that I've been going hard at it, maybe about 3 or 4 shots, 5 shots maximum on that big UFC watch along, but I don't really wake up with any dry mouth or I'm all cocked over or anything too. So it's a good finish, man. You can get up the next day and do what you got to do. So. But we'll do more of those. Absolutely had a good time with that. And it was a big Monday. This is going to be another big Monday. I got to meet with Goldilocks later. Appreciate all you guys. If you're keeping it in that Russo brand family, if you're subscribing to Russo Patreon, Hamin Media Group, and obviously hers, which is far more sexy than mine, Goldilocks but she's doing great high level stuff there, guys, and really interact with your fans, giving the sexy tier, the tub talk, life advice, rock and roll stuff behind the scenes. She's kicking ass on all fronts, man. So definitely excited to hear and pioneer some new strategies with her. But like I was gonna say, if you're in that, Russo brand, you're keeping your money here instead of worrying about Spectrum and shitty cable. Cut the cord. We're making enough content for you guys here that you can't even keep up with it all. So I just wanted to say thank you to all the diehards who are subscribing and supporting those Patreons as content creators. That it means a lot to us. And it means a lot to her and me, helping her out and just giving some advice and watching her execute. And like Frank's Pickle Barrel asked earlier, the ProWrestlingTees.com/BenHamin/Dr. Beast sales. We appreciate that, you guys, as well. And the Hustler Rip Rogers book on pro wrestling at Amazon. Hustler, there he is. He's back. God damn it, he's back. And there you go. Then we'll get all the plugs in, broasters, whatever you guys want, man. We got it all for you here. And we appreciate you being such loyal buyers and subscribers, man. And now Twitter bombers as we get ready to green light the cells on Wednesday, man. So awesome. Big Evil Pops, Goldilocks is so awesome. Such an awesome, a quality person. I agree, man. I know you're one of her favorite subscribers, dude. So hopefully you're feeling good post your surgery, Big Evil Pops. Also want to send a shout out to Josh from 2CW. Had surgery on Friday, doing well. Just sore like you would be after they cut on you, anytime. And birthday, our own buddy, Big Rick Victor. I got to Serena hit me up and I hit him back. They were over there with Silvio and having a good little birthday party for our own Rick Victor.
Sweet.
this weekend, man. It was good to see them, but they're all in Florida wearing shorts and fucking tank tops, even though it's 50, 60 degrees and it's 10 up here or whatever it is. So that makes the rounds there, man. Anybody you want to shout out anything going on that you saw this weekend?
APOC. I just wanted to say that.
Hockey.
Good stuff. No, other than I'll just shout out I saw some good movies over the weekend. As for you those that follow me on Facebook, you see all the new movies that I haven't seen. Saw some really interesting ones this past week. I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show for the first time. That was interesting. I would say as a movie, I think it would lend itself better as a play, and I guess it was originally a play. That was my big thoughts on that. But I love the music. I love the fanfare. It was just it didn't flow as a movie, in my opinion.
It's an experience, though, because you kind of missed it. In the early 90s, it had a resurgence among theater kids.
I remember when I was a kid, I heard about it all the time. And I remember even the parents at the grade school that I went to had a Rocky Horror Night where it was just the parents, and they had their own lip sync show around it and things like that. So I remember it was huge. I remember hearing about it, but I never had seen it.
It was really one of the first flash mob type things for gays and theater kids to fucking participate in. And not even gays, people who enjoyed it and maybe wanted to do a little cross-dressing. But they would rent out theaters, and there's whole parts where you throw toast. Like everyone brings toast to throw. And there's all this stuff that you do during the show and call and answer and response that
nice.
Hard fans of the 70s and 80s made it into. But yeah, look it up. See,
that sounds fun. And that's again where it sounds like the experience of going in person is just, that's where the magic happens. It's what it seems like.
You're going to have to talk it out with Susio. Do you remember? I don't think you might not. It might have been the Halloween show, but Johnny Punch looked so much like the Golden Dude.
Oh, yes.
And we made Totally Awesome. I made him do the sweet transvestite. They were all doing the time warp and the DCW.
I do remember that now. I finally get the reference 12 years later.
But people are like, Man Beast, you're just watching it now. That's the beauty. Man Beast is it frustrated the shit out of me being such a, actor, director, and making sure as coming out of Chicago that I consumed everything. And then Man Beast's mind is so brilliant wrestling wise. And he hadn't even seen the basics of Americana movies. And I'm talking 2006, 2007. I would be shocked. I'd be like, I'd try to make a reference to fucking Back to the Future. It's like, I never seen that, man. I go, you never seen fucking Back to the Future?
I have now, but yeah, then I hadn't.
Never. This is 2007. I make Karate Kid reference. I don't know that one, man. I've never seen that one, man. But
I did see Karate Kid this year. The first one. I still got to see the other ones. But as an improv coach, you're trying to help give me direction. But think of this scene as this, and I was like, I've never seen that.
Just like the basics. Indiana Jones is Star Wars. Like you, this kid had never.
You always accuse me of Star Wars, and it's one of the few that I had seen. But Indiana Jones, I had not. So I did go back and see that.
That doesn't get you a pass.
Well, I tried.
No, but now it's a beautiful thing because how many people on this earth, it's almost like he's been in a time capsule of his own making to see these classic films that are Americana for the first time. It's an interesting look to see through that lens, man. And then
I agree. It is.
Coach somebody who doesn't get that reference because those stories are just based on great mythologies throughout time. I can retell,
right?
I'd tell you something else to study and get the same performance, but that always made me laugh, man. It's so good. So
I saw that. I guess not a classic, but The Irishman, which is really good. I know. I think you've seen that, and
but I've also been watching a lot of Michael Frances and former mob boss for the Colombo crime family, and he says none of that shit is real in how they whacked him at the end. That it's really not him, and that's not how it went down. It was a guy who wasn't even made, but was a capable hitman, and that the body is wet. You're not going to find it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And they took a little artistic license, but I still say, Scorsese, he's a master of the fine little details. And I thought it was really good. I am stuck in the time warp again. So I thought that was good. And then to bring it around to another completely different movie. Have you ever seen the movie, The Gods Must Be Crazy?
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw that one yesterday. And so it was just like the gauntlet of just all these different genres. But but cool stuff.
Awesome.
I'm learning, Ben. I'm learning.
You are, dude. I think you should pick like an actor comedy wise. Like I would go through John Candy's whole lexicon. Same with Dan Aykroyd.
What I've been doing, because I get all these great suggestions, and I encourage people keep sending them to me. But because I'd have these subscriptions like the Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime, I literally will just look up what movies are expiring, and then that's how I find these movies. And a lot of them are classics, and so I'm like, all right, let's see this before it expires. Tonight it's the Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh, phenomenal film, bro. I mean, you could say some people's best performances ever in that, like a couple.
It looks like a who's who of actors in it. Like I was very surprised that.
Dude, wow. It's an actor's film. It's an actor's comedy, bro. A lot of top improvisers refer to that as some of the best of Gene Hackman's stuff. I mean, everybody in it's fucking great. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, you guys send them those movie recommendations at, what is it, Dr.
Book the Doctor at gmail.com.
Or how about on Twitter?
Oh, at Ted the Man Beast. Yeah, it's probably easier to do it that way.
Yeah, send them, you guys. Bring them up to speed. And I think that could even be an interesting show. Man Beast's first fucking reaction to seeing, I don't know, have you seen Stripes yet or anything like that? Never seen Stripes. Never seen Stripes. You seen The Great Outdoors?
I have not. I'm sheltered. I know. I have thought about it. I should just sit down and just react after I see these movies.
Seen Uncle Buck?
That's related to National Lampoon, right?
Have you seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Yes, I have seen that.
Okay, so 1 for 4. Who's Harry Crumb?
No.
Dude, just go through John Candy's fucking top
library. Okay.
God, bro. The brilliant. I love that shit. The chat room is getting hot. Now imagine trying to direct them when I'm trying to fucking make references that are just like everybody's Americana, and he's like, whoop. Yeah, your performance is incredible performer you are. Like you would have been even 100 times better.
Yeah, if I actually watched movies growing up.
Oh, but what else is scary is these headlines. We don't have a lot, I guess. We'll get through them and get in, get out. Plenty of work to do, and not bust Man Beast balls all day.
I can take it, man. I can take it. I love it.
I know you can. But you didn't even know what Elwood and Gimmick were from the Blues, bro.
Jake and Elwood. So it's two good guys who just make pizza.
Oh, that's so good. Just make pizza. Pop. Oh, shit. All right. Here we go, Beast. Jim Ross, you might have heard of him. He recalls having to release Umaga from his WWE contract. Jim Ross spoke about a difficult side of his WWE career, which was having to release talent, talking specifically about Umaga during his latest podcast episode, which focused fully on Umaga. JR reflected on what he had to do to release him in 2003 after an incident in a bar took place. He said, I would deliver the news. Try to do it in person when you can. It's not a letter. I'll call, talk. You had a conversation about it, but Vince McMahon would earmark it, and sometimes it was brought up by others in the company how, well, this guy's put our company in jeopardy, and he's out of control, and he can't handle his habits, et cetera, et cetera. And then you get all these little indications, like I said earlier, the small things start accumulating cumulatively. It's bad business, and so he would say, we got to fix this problem. Unless you can tell me differently, JR, the only way I know how to fix it is to let him go and let him mature. And because we'd sure as hell like to bring him back. We knew he was going to be great, but you still can't make exceptions with somebody you perceive to be out of control and dangerous, especially that big, that strong. And so he had to look. Umaga understood that. He knew he fucked up, and he took out the bat. He took the bat out of our hands. What are we going to do now? So that's kind of what that was. That he knew that he'd fucked up. You got to pay the piper sometimes, and that's the only recourse that we had. Yeah, man, those are tough situations, and obviously it ended in the worst possible outcome. Everybody at that time was, going hard as fuck, trying to live out the 90s and 80s in some weird 2000s post 9/11 kind of way. And then once Big Pharma started pushing pills like crazy, and just like everybody could get their hands on Oxycontins. And then when you couldn't, obviously they're going to bring in the heroin from fucking Argentina. I'm not saying he was on, Afghanistan. I'm not saying he was on heroin, but like, I know, dude, I can name 3 or 4 guys who were contract guys, just a developmental, who would fall asleep in the locker room drooling on themselves because they were on pills at the time, because it was cool to hang out with the upper guys who were doing that, but they couldn't fucking.
And that's just not, and that's not even just contract guys. I've seen, that's a problem in wrestling, period.
True.
It's very sad.
Yeah, and when they get on those pills, bro, they're just a different person. They're I'm not gonna say names, but were you there that night? Fucking, I had to put him down and throw him in the back of the car, and me and Power had to hold him down. We were at
I'm sure. I'm sure if you, I know we're kayfabe, and I'm sure probably, I probably do know. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you. But like fucking, had to throw him in a fucking full Nelson and like shoot on him. Put him on the hood of the fucking car in a full Nelson. Get the fuck off me, Pops. Get the fuck off me. And I'm like, dude, I weigh 120 pounds more than you. And you're fucking going buck. There ain't no way I'm getting off you right now. And fucking put it on him and throw him in the car. Power sitting on his chest trying to hold him down. And like those pills, they just turn somebody Jekyll and Hyde, some people, bro. Jekyll and fucking Hyde. Next day, didn't remember a fucking thing of it. And just it's pills with just a little booze on top. And when they fucking hit, bro, it's like shields down. I've never been a pill guy, except for when I had kidney stones and I need it because you're on the fucking ground pissing out shards of glass. But, aside from that, that's not my bag of tricks, bro. I'd rather do Smiths and whiskey all day long.
And just the addictive factor of them is what's the scariest part. Yeah. Like I found out as a healthcare practitioner going through some of these new studies on it, this is the thing that really was telling to me. Did you know it just only takes 72 hours of taking opioids consistently for your body to start building a dependency? 72 hours. It doesn't mean you're dependent in 72 hours, but it means after 3 days of being on those pills, your body starts to crave those pills more and more and more. And then you just compound that day after day after day. And it's no wonder, like even patients that I see that need these opioids right out of surgery sometimes still have a hard time coming off, just because your body literally just gets used to that. It doesn't even necessarily mean that it feels good. It just helps kind of blunt the level of pain necessarily. And it's just, it's crazy and scary how quickly that can take a downward spiral.
That shit is powerful. I mean, a couple codeines here and there, if you got to take the edge off of something like that. But I remember coming out of surgery once, and what was it? I can't remember. They hit me with the morphine, bro, and I was like, "This is some different shit, right?"
Morphine's weird, and I don't know if you exact when I broke my fingers when I had a staph infection. I was in the hospital. I remember they gave me the morphine. Almost gives you like a metallic taste in the mouth. It's really weird. It's like, bleh.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It was a trip, but I could see how people could get hooked on that flying away. But when it comes to Umaga, it took his life, man. And there's a lot and he was going hard. I remember there was one clip I saw that got leaked. The boys this is when camera phones and shit were first starting to do video, and it was John Cena hazing Umaga, and they were fucking drinking whiskey back right out of the bottle out backstage, and he was fucked. You could just see him both gimmicked out of his mind. I know Cena's closet drinker pretty hard, or was.
Well, to be fair, a lot of the locker room is.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the locker room are 2 beer queers too. How many fucking big guys you've seen down at 4th Street have 2 or 3 fucking Miller Lights and start acting like 12 years old, like it's fucking baby's first beer? I'm like, you're a fucking 6'6", 330-pound motherfucker, and you can't handle 3 Miller Lights? Are you kidding me right now?
And for some reason, I guess because I was like, I felt like back in the day, I felt like I was like the kid brother, because everyone else was twice my size. I was smaller, but then I'd come around and these big, huge guys were like, "Hey man, peace out." It's just, it made me feel cool. It's like, oh, who's that? Those big guys you're around.
It was cool, but the thing is, like,
it's like scary though. It's like, who's taking you home? And that's back before we had Uber and all that shit. So it's like,
Yep. And and it wasn't that they were on pills and effed up either. They just some of these guys are massive and they can't handle no drink whatsoever.
No.
Like, you're just crazy, man. But I'll go into it. One thing that was weird with my Umaga experience, I met him twice, but then I don't know what the heat was between them. They must have some heat. And I've talked about Colt before. Sometimes I'm cool with Colt, and other times he can be a little standoffish to me. It's strange. But I was on the train in Chicago, and I fucking pull up to I think it was Belmont, and Colt gets on the train on my car. I'm like, hey man, I hadn't seen him in like 16 months. This is after he had gone to WWE and been released, and fucking back in Chicago right after OVW for a year. And he sits down, and Umaga had just passed away that morning. And yesterday, I was like, hey man, did you see that? Has posted Umaga passed away. Has is Armando Estrada, for those who don't know. And he goes, good, I don't give a fuck. Fuck that guy. I was like, wow. So that was kind of a weird thing, and just caught him that day and on the train. And I was just trying to, like, that was some of the first words we talked to each other after, hey pops, and it got kind of weird. And I don't know what they did to Colt or anything like that. Not
right, and that's where, on one hand, the initial reaction is like, "Whoa, what the fuck? How insensitive!" But then you also don't know the experience Colt had with him, and you know the kind of hazing that takes place in and out of the locker room, or in and out of the ring, whether it's in the locker room or in the ring. It's like, I don't know. That's where I can't speak to that, but it is very easy to develop some strong feelings towards people that didn't treat you the right way when you're breaking into the business. And I'm not saying that happened, but at the same time, if it did, I can absolutely see why he had that reaction.
He might have a complete valid story of why that. Maybe Umaga pulled him through some chairs at the go-home meeting or something. Who knows? Right. Beast like that one. But yeah, man, like every time I hear Umaga, that moment always sticks in my head, because I'm a little bit partial to Armando Estrada, because before he did that whole gimmick at OVW, he did this. It went fucking Mark Capani doing Muhammad Hassan. The torch got passed to Has to do the Palestinian sheet gimmick. Then I was the next one with Ali and Khalil to do it after that.
And then Has said, "Fuck it, I might be Middle Eastern, but I'm going to be a Cuban." And then,
he said, "Dude, that's it. It
works." Yeah.
He got it over huge, man. There's no doubt about that. Big shout out to Armando.
And that goes back to, the stuff like Rip says, can you do this? Yes. Can I do this? Yes. Sure, you're Middle Eastern, but we want you to be a Cuban. All right, I'll be a Cuban. Whatever.
Sure, you're a white guy, but we want you to be a Middle Eastern. Was Umaga as big as he looked on TV? He's a wide son of a bitch.
He looked pretty big. Yeah.
He was, when you looked at him, you're like, not that like, oh shit, he's gonna hurt me, but I would be like, oh shit, I don't hope this guy doesn't sandbag me, because I'm gonna blow my back out. If he doesn't want you to slam him, he could just lower his center of gravity to fuck with you, and you'd be doing a 500-pound deadlift, and you wouldn't want to. But
he looks like a big fucking linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah, he's as dense as fucking he looked, man. So that sucks, but that's kind of in that time in the business. There were a lot of guys trying to live it like it's the 90s, but it was a 2000s new era perspective. And some guys were going to get caught in the trap that way of being the boys and being on gimmicks and living that old school lifestyle versus the new school HR mentality. And unfortunately, this guy's not around, because how awesome would he be? He might be the tribal chief right now. If he was,
no shit, honestly.
But not an easy job for JR. That's a tough job to do, and I'm ready to go into the WWE creative team and do it. I'll fire them all. To their faces. Forgotten Sons, Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, they returned on SmackDown without Jason Riker. The Forgotten Sons, Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, returned to TV with King Corbin. Cutler and Blake were brought from NXT in the main roster, repackaged as ex-military mercenaries, the Forgotten Sons. Shortly after their debut, the entire group was taken off television after Riker received backlash from both fans and many of his colleagues backstage because of tweets supporting President Donald Trump following the murder of George Floyd. They were not seen again until this week's SmackDown. Well, two of them were, not Riker. Coming out in hoodies with their faces super clean, so they look kind of like some weird faceless, nameless hitmen alongside them, and then they had pea coats or jackets on over the hoodies. It was just as fucking indie looking as you'd want it to be. And the Forgotten Sons has so much money on it in today's fucking climate of 3%ers, fucking Tea Partiers, Black Lives Matter, Antifa. They just touched it like it was kindergarten level of controversy instead of really leaning into it. Even when this guy puts out a tweet, they're all legit veterans. You're gonna fucking sell for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Canadians who fucking cry backstage about it when your wife works for Trump, $18.5 million fucking pro bono donations to the Florida campaign and all that shit. You know, and was running her small business. So you're gonna punish these guys and then bring these two dudes back as Corbin stooges. There's way more money in the Forgotten Sons and playing things real. There's zero money in these two guys being fucking stooges. And I think Wes Blake is Wes Briscoe, who's a member of the Hamin Media Group. I think he got hot. Maybe Wes Briscoe isn't Wesley Blake, actually, but Wes Briscoe got hot when somebody said some shit about Retribution sucking in the Hamin Media Group. So you never know who's lurking in the backgrounds of WWE workers and real workers who we have contact with all the time and want to see. They know when something sucks and they don't like to hear it. And this is going to fucking suck. King Corbin not being reinvented, still having a crown on his head. Now we got these two guys who look like they're out of Abercrombie. I just don't see where the fuck they're going and why they won't take any real chances in putting real soldiers with that Born on the 4th of July. That's a movie. That voice.
I've seen that one.
that Tom Cruise-esque fucking dissidence in a time when it's so real in our society.
You're right. And that's something that, you know, would get it from both sides. You'd have people obviously that are, you know, supportive of that type of attitude. And then you have the other people that obviously weren't happy with the comments that one Jackson Riker made. And it's where it comes down to it. It's finding the delicate balance of, you know, telling the right story, because this is a hot story and they should play it up from a character creative standpoint. Then you got to play the other game of the political game, because what we don't know is conversations that perhaps people in HR had with other sponsors that may have found out about this situation. And even though it wasn't the right thing to do from a creative standpoint, it's like, well, we're not wanting to lose the tens of millions of dollars we're getting from XYZ sponsor for this guy. Not to say that it's not a valuable property, but you look at, you know, what we have now, you know, versus, you know, like bird in the hands worth two in the bush, right? You know, so it's one of those situations where we're getting lots of money from this company. And even though this property could get us more money in the long run, potentially, we're going to go with the safe money. And that's where I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying from a business standpoint, I imagine probably that also played a big role in that situation coming about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was the George Floyd thing too, but you also have ex-soldiers and you're taking Saudi money and nobody wants to point fingers for 9/11 truth and the fucking reality of it too. Meanwhile, we're going to do our new tribute to the troops show, but these three over here, fuck them. You know, Lacey Evans too, and fucking Bobby Lashley. So why not play into the George Floyd thing? You don't want to go right into that, obviously, but
right.
That's the climate of the world of where we are with racial tension, political tension, espionage, you know, and all that shit. And we're not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. We're not even going to echo what's going on in society. We're just going to be dumb, deaf, and blind to it and let our SJW workers who really don't draw dictate to us what the fuck good taste is because we're worried about some HR reprisal. The worst way to fucking run it, bro. In fact, you should have put Owens and him and fucking Daniel Bryan together in an SJW clique with that wooden belt, which was fucking awesome. You should have kept these guys militant, put fucking Lacey Evans with them as a spokesperson, and had Donald Trump off screen in a fucking room. Every time you open the door, you hear Donald Trump talking, an impersonator. Billy Ray Valentine does a good one. Fucking, and then Lacey Evans comes out, gives those guys as the spokesperson, gives the fucking, you know, speech, and those guys go out and do the hits on people, bro. Like, and then you obviously have the Hurt Business who could do Black Lives Matter at a very high educated level because they're all top guys. And then Retribution could have really been Antifa. Instead, everything's fucked. Everything's at kindergarten level. Nothing has any teeth and nothing is over whatsoever. Now, these two guys are going to be out here as fucking goofs for Baron Corbin. They won't get over at all. And then they'll be right on their way out like Authors of Pain. That's the fucking WWE grinder shitbox model. And they wonder why segments suck cock. I'll be UFC champ. Fuck your cock. Oh shit. But yeah, Baron Corbin. Triple H, you might have heard of him, Beast. He provides an update on Karrion Kross's status. Triple H recently provided an update on the injury status of former NXT champ Killer Kross, hinting that he could be back. The game spoke with the media during a press conference call this week to hype up Sunday's NXT War Games event, and was even asked about Kross status. While Triple H didn't give a clear answer, he did hint that his return is coming, and he quoted Kross himself, and that he simply stated it will be any second. To quote him, TikTok.
Oh, wait, it's happening right now. They're not even on TV. What's going on?
He's back.
He came back early.
Yeah, man. TikTok any second. Killer Kross. I hope they, knowing Kross and his penchant for awesome video and really epic, making his own art out of this whole thing. I hope that while he has been down, that he's been producing a ton of new shit for his return, man. That's going to be, on a level that blows everybody else out of the water, because that's the type of talent he is. He is your next Triple H. Are you going to fucking get him to where he needs to be the right way?
Right. And to that point, I hope they pick right up where they left off with him. He won the NXT title and was looking like he was heading towards a really good run. And then unfortunately, in the match, he hurt his shoulder. So I feel like they've done what they could with Finn in the mix. And I think that they've done something very well with him. And that, he's had these long drawn out matches showing he's a fighting champion, which means, in my opinion, it is going to be so effective if they bring back Killer Kross for this big rematch for his championship, and they're expecting this long, drawn-out, beat-down match. He should beat Finn Balor in less than a minute and make people go, holy shit. Finn Balor's been, having these, 20, 30, 40-minute matches, and Killer Kross just beat him in less than a minute. And that, to me, is going to reestablish him as the monster that he was before, and if I can just keep trucking. You know what I mean?
What's Killer Kross's submission?
Oh, Jesus. I couldn't
I
tell
don't know. All I'm thinking is he should, whatever, cut off Baylor, fucking get him in a crippler crossface around that jaw that we know was broken in the match with Cole. And that's a quick tap out, easy that way, right? It doesn't really hurt Baylor. Can you get Baylor back on top? Up to where he was. This guy is out of my mind as a fucking star, bro. Like, he's out of the picture so completely that going to NXT thing, whether it's Breezango or whoever, dude, even when coming back down to OVW, when it had to be, what's his name? Pirate gimmick, Paul Burchill. Yeah. It never, even Damian Sandow, it never fucking works out for him, bro. They always get fired. They always have to either leave the biz or else they go to the indies and reinvent themselves, say, fuck you, go back at Impact, get it over, yada, 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 right? So, is there even a possibility to get Finn Balor back on top in WWE?
That's a good question. Yeah, it seems like he would probably be better for Finn Balor as a performer to go and re-find his self in a different company, in a different environment. It's not against anything against his talents, but I feel like he's at this point, gone about as far as he can given where he's at. Now he goes to a different company, kind of re-evolves his character, gets in the mix with some different guys, and then potentially a couple years down the line, he could end up coming back and making a much bigger splash, given if he's able to reinvent himself and find, I guess his character or his persona, so to speak. And part of that's, the way he was booked too, but, and part of that too is being able to evolve as a performer and finding out how to stay within the limelight and keep it interesting. And I feel like at this point, his character's kind of reached an end point.
Also, they're indie marks to themselves. You're going to win the title the first night. Don't do a fucking power bomb a buckle bomb into the goddamn fucking railing to act like this is a fucking video game. You're not going to get hurt. Like, they're not smart as workers. That whole ROH New Japan class of 2012, they're just complete idiots who got jobs and think that they're fucking way over and that they know what they're doing. And then we get Superplex Falcons Arrow kick out. So
there was a lot of crazy stuff last night. I didn't watch all of it, but I saw the results enough to talk about it today. But man, there was some. They were all about getting their spots in yesterday.
For how many people in the audience?
Probably 100, if that.
Stupid. Very stupid. Vince McMahon directing Keith Lee. We're going to go places, pal. Yeah. The latest WWE 24 provided a rare glimpse of Vince McMahon doing what he does best, backstage producing and directing talent. Well, if that's what he does best, then we need fucking more help. It's not often fans get to see WWE chairman in his role behind the scenes due to how private he tends to be. However, the latest WWE 24, which focuses on Keith Lee, did exactly that, showcasing an engaging conversation between Lee and McMahon in gorilla position after Keith Lee's main roster debut. We're going to go places, but you got to make me believe in ya. Vince McMahon told the Limitless One, we've got a whole global audience here now. It's a little bit different. Got to make some changes and be you. Vince continued, look what I got here. I got a hell of an athlete, a hell of a performer. Promos are good. Well, no, they're not. Vince can be seen talking with Keith, directing and praising him, which Lee would go on to state fired him up. After the conversation with the boss, Keith Lee admitted he was fired up, stating he's ready to dismantle the industry for him. Firework went from like smiles to like coach firing you up. That's what it felt like. A football game when I played D-line. That's what that felt. Vince McMahon is expecting me to dismantle this industry. I'm gonna fucking do it. Keith continued, taking in Vince's guidance and being myself. I will remain focused and poised to be both basically with everything that I am.
That's a good William Shatner impression there.
Well, that's what he does too.
I know. Sounds like William Shatner.
Yeah, it's rotten. It's absolutely rotten. Be yourself? No, I'm going to be William Shatner. You want to be yourself? Hire hacker Hamin to come in and teach him how to improvise for 6 months. Then you might put him on TV where he has the wherewithal to understand who he is, what a wrestling character is, and how to connect through the camera in a time where there are no crowds to connect to him based on his size alone. So this put over of Keith Lee's fucking whatever. Yeah, he's a big, massive motherfucker and impressive on camera. Don't give him the mic until he knows what the fuck he's doing. Every word that he's uttered has been absolutely laughable.
Yeah, it is kind of ridiculous. It's kind of over the top, almost like he's trying to be like Shakespeare in the Park type of.
It's exactly what he's trying to do, bro. 100% what he's trying to do. He thinks that's high level acting, and that's nobody reining him in to be the big brother and being like, at least he's trying something. I'll give him that. So he's got the ability to commit and fucking go for it. However, the voice does not fit the package. And I'm not saying he's got to be big, black, and ghetto, but I doubt he's walking around his apartment with Mia Yim going, have you seen the dog's toys? I am looking to play with him. Like, you know, like
he's got to find his voice. And when he does, it can be really good. You know,
yeah. Yep.
Keith Lee, for listening, reach out. We'll help you.
Been here.
It did make me laugh because I read this story. I couldn't think of a joke for it, but someone in the comments had popped me. This is just a joke someone had written that said, Vince McMahon said all this to Keith Lee. Keith Lee says, I'll do whatever it takes, Vince. And then Vince says, that's the spirit, fatso. I was like, Jesus.
Except for
internet commenters just made me laugh.
So good. Oh, that's why I love World Star. I just love going through the comments. Triple H provides an update on Candice LeRae's injury following War Games. He said, right now, for the most part, bumps and bruises on everybody. So that would expect. So what you would expect out of this. Candice is getting checked now, getting her x-rays checked out. So I don't really have any status update on that yet, but you are correct. It's possibly a broken arm. Maybe. We're not sure yet, but we'll see where that goes. Bobby Fish got a bit of a laceration on his elbow, but we're not exactly sure. It's just the elbows that we're just kind of waiting to see. But other than that, no, just bumps and bruises. I hold my breath in these kinds of shows every single time, and tonight was certainly no different. Well, let's start booking just normal finishes, and you won't have to hold your breath, and people won't have to do dumb shit that fucking give them concussions, neck fusion surgery, hematomas on elbows and knees, broken wrists, broken arms, blown out shoulders, every single fucking show game. Like, this is developmental. Only so many punches on your bump card. Why are they doing this dumb shit to impress you and Sean? Because you've got a bunch of kids who are marks for the Attitude Era and want to fucking take it to this insane level. And you're not making them think about longevity and their career for the next 5 to 10 years. You're thinking about, this is War Games, everybody. Remember WCW? That was awesome. This is your time to shine. And what's that mean? Go hard as fuck. Smash the shit out of each other. Nope. You're not building real workers. You're not building any real talent. You're building marks who want to fucking show off for you so Sean can keep one good eye on you and go, good job, everybody. And that's all we're at this point. Nobody is thinking about their WrestleMania moment. They're thinking about having it on the student show. And what'd that pay them? $750 that week? Stupid. Stupid.
I agree with you. I wish, they would do more to get more mileage out of what they do. I mean, we saw just a couple months ago, what was it, SummerSlam? Randy Orton won with a backslide and people were losing their minds online about it. And it's like, well, because it made it mean something. And then next time there's a backslide in the match, people are going to think, holy shit, that could be the finish. Imagine it does not that hard. You can re-educate the fans to an extent on any potential defensive pinfall, whether it be a small package, schoolboy, something, whatever. People start winning with it, and all of a sudden it means something again. Then people actually bite on those as a false finish instead of having to do fucking, basically pull out a fucking gun, shoot the guy, and take a knife and chop his head off, and then kick out on 2. It's like, Jesus. It's obviously I'm being facetious, but
you're not that far off though. We're jumping off the Empire State Building, hitting the concrete, should be splatted on the ground to be picked up by fucking sewage department. Instead, we hit the ground and go, I'm good, everybody. I meant to do that. Brush your shoulders off. We're good. Next spot. Everyone's killing the art. And then they go, no, that's just because wrestling's evolved and changed. No, that's because you suck at what we do and you don't know when to do the moves in the right spot, and you don't know how to sell for 90%, and you don't know that 50-50 doesn't get anybody over, and that's just egregious for your own get your shit in little fucking video game world. Like, fuck them. They're rotten, bro. And everything they're doing is setting up for the future to not get better. Wrestling will not improve based on what they're doing there.
No,
so we're going to get a pat on the back.
No move is going to get I take that back. It's things that are real. People know what they are, like a kick to the balls, a thumb to the eye, things like that. People know what it feels like. But these big, ridiculous moves aren't going to increase any kind of emotional investment from someone watching at home, because no one can fucking relate to it. People can relate to stories and getting angry at people and getting, upset and whatever else happens in the midst of a story that you're telling. But no one can relate to, oh, I remember that time I put a trash can on my head and jumped off my garage on top of all those people and took them out. You know what I mean? Like, I saw that one last night. It's like, geez, it's like, that is not going to get people to say, you know what? I can relate to that. I can relate to that.
That's brutal. No, you're right on. You're right on. I'm going to do that spot later. The Street Profits, they're interested in facing the Mysterio family. I don't know why. I'd love to work with Rey and Dominic as well, says Ford. To get on the ring with Rey Mysterio, that's mind-blowing. It gives me chills thinking about stuff that's happening this year. Definitely Rey and Dominic will be someone we'd love to get in the ring with just because of their dynamic. And Dominic has a very nice frog splash as well. Same thing with Rey. So it'd be pretty much a battle of frog splashes. So I think that'd be a whole lot of fun. I think that'd be stupid TV. I think that's a babyface who's on the main roster who can do incredible things and doesn't realize that he needs a heel to get over on, so to be over, instead of a get your shit in fest versus Rey and Dom versus these guys. That's not going to draw anybody.
Unless you bring out the Street Profits, we're like, we're all about that smoke, but we got someone else who really likes the smoke. Rob Van Dam, come on out. Here we go. 5 stars approximately.
Right. And whatever the fuck Dominic was wearing on SmackDown, did you see that little number?
Mm-mm.
Comes out.
Was it cute?
Black, real cute. Black skinny jeans, fucking Coco Chanel belts or whatever, and a fucking hot pink fucking turtleneck with a gold chain on it, bro.
That's good.
Yeah, couldn't look like he was in the back essing some D's any more than that, bro. It was as like, what? This is the kid we're supposed to get behind, and now looks like he just raided his mom's closet. Very, very stupid and distracting. And for someone to let him on TV like that, again, shows that there's no checks and balances. We want him to be cool.
So that,
yeah. Well, what else would it be? Dude, I mean, is he transitioning too? Is this what it is? Dominica, and he's going to tag with his sister, and they're going to be the women's tag champs. When I see that shit, that's what I feel like, bro. It's distractingly bad at ringside. Like, why is this shit getting on TV? Why would you let him out there looking like that? It's absolutely stupid. And everybody involved who allows it is an idiot too. Like, why is his dad not stopping that?
Right.
They're just clueless, bro. Everybody. And to have to say that and put Rey Mysterio's name in that sentence kills me. It kills me. And Montez Ford, that's just him marking out in public to get to work with Rey Mysterio. Not who can I have the most heat with, because heat and payoffs draw. You're not going to have no fucking heat with the Mysterios. It's to get your shit in fest for you. And
right.
That's no business. No business. And how are guys getting to top spots in WWE who don't even know how to do business at the basic level? That's the big question.
It's almost as if they want to create a system where people don't have the wherewithal to do that. In a sense, I mean, I'm not saying it's the right thing, but I'm also saying perhaps it gives them an extra semblance of control because they're more knowledgeable on these things than the talent is. But to me, it's about empowering the talent to get the most out of them. And so to me, if long-term wise, it's not a good thing to not have your talent be in the know of how to get heat and how to get over.
Forgotten Sons and them would have been good. High flyers versus just smash into the fucking ground.
Yeah.
Take it away.
That would have been a great debut. Street Profits are riding high right now as the champions, and the Forgotten Sons come in out of nowhere. That could have really had something.
Well, what do I know? Let them all wear fucking pink and fucking teal, the goddamn fucking camisoles together, and they can all have a good ass time. Nick Dinsmore. I watched this weekend. A very good interview. I don't know. Chris Van Vliet's a little weird to me. He kind of reminds me of Dennis from Always Sunny, like good looking, but could possibly be a psychotic murderer behind the scenes. Nick Dinsmore reflects on his WWE NXT coaching role in a big interview where he puts over Rip and all that stuff of the origins of the Eugene career. But when he was back at NXT, he says, I don't know. I just know that I wasn't putting out my best performance because I was in an environment where I was uncomfortable, and I was uncomfortable because, these are the people that I looked up to that I was there with. There was Terry Taylor, Dusty Rhodes, and Triple H was sitting next to me, and I would get nervous sometimes. I might just be quiet and assess the situation, but I'm not really putting out a lot. And I feel like in that environment, you got to be on and going. And I would just sit back, and I knew what was going on, and I was aware, but I just keep my mouth shut, ears open, and that might not have been the best situation for it. I love that the coaching aspect of it, didn't necessarily care for the producer aspect of it, but it was a great education to see the tools that these guys are given and now what they're expecting of WWE superstars today. The fact that I got to teach and coach and that I still got the manuals and all that, so I know what they're looking for. I feel like they do, but it's an ever-changing process. Obviously Nick Dinsmore, a guy we've spent tons of time with, locker room, in ring, learning from, massive respect for him, possibly the greatest OVW education in the history of OVW, of who he learned from, who he worked with, and what he passed on to people. Huge respect for him, and his wife, super hot, scored way above his head. I don't know how. She must have really bad eyes. But Dinsmore, definitely the cloth we're cut from, and now out in Sioux City Falls, right? Is that what it is?
I think so, yeah.
And doing his whole thing there. Check out that interview with Van Vliet. A great interview with Nick Eugene Dinsmore. We've heard about this a lot, where guys who are over and even work in main events and whatnot, when they get that spot, they stay humble. And that's Rip tells us, I tell you, we all know it. Shut the fuck up, stay small. But I've also seen a lot of guys get released who go, yeah, I had a great run, but I wish I would have spoke up more, whether it's Zack Ryder and soon to be Finn Balor or whoever, right? Like, I think me having the big mouth keeps me out of the job. However, you stay humble to get the job, but then you don't keep the job because you don't open your big fucking mouth and tell people when they're wrong. And then you're going along to get along, so you just get fired, and then you have all this remorse because you didn't get any of your ideas over. I would rather hire me to shut me the fuck up, and then when I get there, don't shut the fuck up and try and fix things, and you fire me because you don't want to hear it, but at least you fucking heard it. Because that's the biggest thing. Nobody's saying what needs to be said. It's all more just ego stroke of guys who've been over for so long will go along with what they want to do. Meanwhile, we got 4 and 5 motherfuckers getting hurt on a pay-per-view, and now they're off TV for this next week.
Yeah, and I assume instead of backstage and reprimanding them like, what the hell was that? It's instead of, sure, it's great job. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, good job, everybody. So that's a problem on management side, a big problem. Because you got wrestlers who from the indies who don't even know WWE psychology, and now you're taking that indie psychology and putting it on WWE TV, making them think they're right. Meanwhile, they're killing your talent. They're killing the rest of your investment and making it a dangerous situation, and that becomes normalized. I got a big problem with that.
Yeah.
Renee Young reveals the sex of her and Jon Moxley's baby. Renee Young says they are having a baby girl. They did a cake reveal, and it was pink inside.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's always pink inside.
Oh, shit.
Sting reportedly joined AEW due to the unhappiness over his WWE run. Well, I can't fucking say that, but appears he was not happy with the Rollins and was defeated by Triple H. His only victory came alongside John Cena, lost to Rollins, and then retired. But now he's got a multi-year deal where he doesn't wrestle, and apparently he'll talk and stand in the corner for millions of dollars. So I can't, blame that he wasn't happy with his WWE run. If you look back and give me a Sting highlight package, bro, I'm not really that impressed. But he's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. He's fucking put his time in. He's worked the biggest and best of the best. But I don't see any big upside to him. I mean, Darby Allin definitely needs him. That's the upside. But when you go, he signed a multi-year deal. Well, now we just took the mythos and made him into he's a signed wrestler. Like, not a mythos of Sting. So we just knocked it down there. Then he's going to talk next week. So let's knock it down again and fucking kill it. Now he's already at about 60% as far as I'm concerned.
Next week he's going to come on there. He's like, all right, I'm going to go back up to the rafters and start watching. Just don't make me come down there.
Right. Don't do it.
He stands up. Oh, he's going to come down. Oh, no, he just had to go to the bathroom.
The only thing I give a shit about is seeing him and Darby Allin drop in on a 7-foot half pipe and try and skateboard together.
There we go.
That's about all I give a shit about. If Stinger can do that, then I'd be impressed.
A man called Darby.
Who's this? Serena Deeb. You might have heard of her. Talks about signing with AEW and wanting the AEW Women's Championship. The devious one might be the current NWA Women's Champ, but that doesn't mean she has settled, and she has her eyes on another title as well. Serena has thrived in recent months since appearing on AEW, and during an interview on the Women's Wrestling Talk podcast, she discussed her original AEW appearance came about, admitting it was very last minute. She said the call, from AEW was, I say last second. It was about 48 hours before the Dynamite match. It was sort of like an inquiry as to would it be something I'm interested in? Is it what I'm prepared for and looking for at the moment? I went into it with this mindset of, I'm going to make the best of this opportunity, to try and go out there and have a great match. I didn't foresee anything coming because I was just focused on that experience and making that as awesome as I could. Obviously, it went really well, and things were really positive moving forward from that. So, like I said, everything else that just happened since then has been happening really fast. The opportunity to work with NWA was absolutely just an honor and amazing. This is absolutely what I'm gunning for, the AEW Women's Championship. I think, it would be really powerful to hold 2 championships at the same time, especially for two of the top companies in the world. When I first joined the AEW roster, I had 100% had set my sights on being the champion. Then there was this crossover with NWA, and I started doing stuff with them. So 100% is what I'm looking at where I'm looking to go. TK Trinidad and Sarah the Rebel interview are on there. You can check it out on Women's Wrestling Talk.
Oh, cool. I know Sarah the Rebel.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like these women having wrestling shows, man. Absolutely. I think that's a smart podcasting.
I mean, it's not as good as WPMS, but
no, that's what I'm saying. I like that WPMS and them, and it's starting to become a thing, I like that.
Absolutely.
But Deeb 2 belts. What are you thinking?
Obviously I think she's got a very bright future. Of course, my opinion's biased, having trained with her for so many years back in OVW, but she's very good at staying in the moment as a wrestler and understanding this is the match I'm in right now and how do I make the most out of it, and not thinking about, what am I going to do next week? I mean, I know that she, still thinks about those things, as every wrestler does, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's about taking care of the business in front of you. And she is very good at doing that. And the work shows. She came in not expecting to get signed, just said, I'm going to have the best match I can. Okay, that was a great match. You're signed. And then, then what's going to happen now? They're going to enter me in the storyline or what? And then all of a sudden, boom, she's the NWA champion because just her work is that solid. And so, I'm interested to see how far she continues to go. And I think this is only the beginning of a very bright, long run that is well overdue.
I couldn't agree more. And that's why when we do talk, it's don't do these stupid spots. Go watch NXT. See how many people got hurt, Deeb, for doing dumb shit. What are you going to do? You're going to go wrestle while everybody else goes to the outside and does all the dumb
right. And the crowd was right with it. I saw her last match with Thunder Rosa, and even just in the beginning exchange when they were chain wrestling, the crowd was coming up to just for reversals and shit like that, because you're educating the audience that this is a competition, and you got them emotionally invested in the sport, or the illustration, or the presentation of a sport that you're putting out in front of the audience. And it was just very well done.
Mm-hmm. In my opinion, 3 top wrestlers in AEW are without a doubt Serena Deeb, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. I don't see anybody else's work that's on their level in selling and clean and safe and believable and being there for everything. Everybody else is doing a little bit of a parody of wrestling. When the bell rings on any of those 3, it's go time for real. You don't need the gimmicks. You don't need that. And I think making her Serena 2 belts is very smart, because there's nobody in that locker room that can lace her boots. There's nobody in WWE's locker room. I don't give a shit if you're talking Charlotte Flair, to be honest with you.
And not to mention, it's good business anyway. Someone like Serena is someone that can bring someone up a level. And so putting her as, the dual champion allows her to have these high caliber matches with all these women and help bring them up a level and showcase, their abilities as technical wrestlers.
100%. And, things along the lines of somebody runs in and hits you with a weapon. That's the finish. You don't sell it and and thankfully her matches haven't had that kind of storyline crossover. She can right now go out and give you that, top Chris Benoit match that you want on the card while everybody else is doing 24/7 R-Truth run-in shit. Let them go wrestle, get a clean finish. And this goes back to even, like you said, we have a vested interest in her and we're all behind each other in everything we do. Whether it's APOC's birthday or the Monday locker room run-ins or whatever it is, or winning the AEW Women's Championship. We all have a hand in everyone's success. And even going back to Mae Young Classic, this is how good this girl is and why she always will get these opportunities. Hey, we need you for a fill-in, but then she does one match, blows everybody off the card, and then they go, fuck, we got to sign her. And then WWE did the same thing. Yeah, she can come in and work, and we'll have her get these rotten girls over who are never going to draw a dime. But she's so good, we should offer her a coaching position. She just does business on the front end, but we'll have her coach these girls who suck and that will never get it, And that's what they did there. Now you're taking a fucking Ferrari and you're putting it in the garage and locking it. You know what I mean? And then you're going out and driving Honda Civics all day long. That's the difference of her level of being able to perform versus theirs, and knowing in the fundamentals and the foundation, and why she outshines not just the women, but all the men on your show as well. All of them. So absolutely, this is her cross to bear, where she doesn't believe in herself, but she's the best. And that's kind of what you want in a performer, that self-doubt that keeps you to there. Because if she was egotistical, I'd have to be kicking her legs out from underneath her every week. You know?
And when you're like that, though, and you have that self-critical mind, it allows you to continuously try to be a little bit better each time, and to reassess after every match and say, okay, what could have been better, and continuously improve and get better and better. As soon as you have that prima donna of, I got this, you're not going to continue to improve. And if anything, at that point, you should just quit, because once you feel like you know it all, then there's no point continuing on.
Man, I'd like to see her versus Taya Valkyrie. You know, there's some girls in there who are just fucking phenomenal, who could bring out a performance that, because we know how good she is, but Deeb's never had the shots.
Right.
So now give us the fucking dream booking that we want. Taya Valkyrie, Tessa, I don't know if that's going to happen. Sheeta, Thunder Rosa was really great. I say go on this run, and to be honest with you, I think she should fucking jump back to WWE, because they're all going to be marks for her after she wins 2 belts. And Becky Lynch, Bailey, they're already marking out for her openly online. Well, you guys were too fucking chicken shit to put her out there, because it showed that she'd show you up. Serena Deeb versus Ronda Rousey's your match. And you're going to
be great.
Like, Serena will lead Ronda through that. And in fact, I think it should be Serena versus the UFC champion in AEW. That's what I'd be fucking working towards. And then Deeb should jump back to WWE for the money she should have made 5-10 years ago, coming up under Beth Phoenix, Mickie James, all that kind of shit. So they fucked up again, shockingly. AEW capitalizes. Serena's talent's undeniable. Now, are you going to fucking set her up to look like the true champ that these women should be and set a standard? I hope they do. And I think her wrestling makes that an undeniable choice, but leave it to any booker to fuck something up, right?
That's true.
Our final story today kind of popped me, not the guy I want to be putting over, but a good rib. CM Punk, you might have heard of him, Beast.
Oh yeah. That guy.
He claims that the NXT roster should be embarrassed over Pat McAfee being the best promo on the show. Punk tuned in the latest episode of NXT and had some harsh words for the roster other than Pat McAfee and Rhea Ripley. Punk watched the show and took to Twitter in order to provide his thoughts. I would have seen him, but I'm blocked. The WWE legend claimed that the roster should be embarrassed due to the fact that McAfee is the best promo on the show, although he did note that it was down to circumstances, agreeing with a fan in one of his replies that it's down to WWE not brainwashing him. However, Punk did claim that former NFL star is the best thing on the show that isn't named Rhea Ripley, clearly being a fan of the former NXT champ. Punk also noted there's no reason for McAfee to not fully commit to wrestling. Yeah, man, there's a reason he's great. He's been doing NFL stuff for a long time and dealing with the press. He's been he's got the 10,000 hour rule on his own podcast. He's completely comfortable being himself, using his own voice, and the rest of them aren't. All these kids at NXT have 1,000 hours into their 10,000 hours. They are babies. They're still shitting in their pants at kindergarten level. And it's not their fault. They just don't have it. So he's definitely going to stand out. That's what he does. He's a communications expert now. And the wrestling, that's him going to Rip Rogers, doing the basics. And when you put them in there with anybody who's even remotely functional, he's going to outshine them. And he looks like a man where everybody else looks like they're in 8th grade.
Yeah, you take the proper training and you combine that with an outstanding work ethic, and the world's your oyster. And Pat McAfee has shown that, really.
100%, man. And I look forward to seeing where he's going to go as the spokesman with Biff and those guys and the new thing. I like them together, but what can we do main roster to get this guy up there? The payoff is Triple H versus McAfee. How do we get there?
Well, from what I'm understanding from an interview I was reading, he doesn't seem overly interested in going to the main roster. I think in part he was implying because he has the freedom to cut the promos like he's been cutting at NXT. He's kind of not being overly scripted like he is on the main roster. And I can see what you're saying, the long-term business, but I think for someone like McAfee, he's made his money and he's doing this more so because he has a passion for it, which is commendable. But at the same time, it will be interesting. But he seemed to at least indicate at this point that he wouldn't be overly interested in doing something like that. Although I'm sure if the money was there, that could always change some things.
I hear you, but that's the problem is I'm staying in NXT because I like the model and it works and it's getting over. Well, why the fuck wouldn't we do that on the main roster and give him carte blanche and let him say what the fuck he needs to do and put him in the match and do Rip Rogers style and get over? Like, it's not the fact that it's NXT and it's easier. It's the fact that there's too much bullshit and blowback on the main roster that they stand in their own way instead of going, whoop, it's working in developmental. Let's get it on the main shows. Instead, it's like, no, I like it down here because it works because I know you'll fuck it up there. What is that even fucking that mentality about? Just that that's the fucking thing. We're already screwed. So shout out CM Punk putting over more Rip Rogers talent. We're going to outshine everybody from Serena to McAfee to whoever the fuck you want to put up there, man. That's just to Killer Cross to Elias. Like, that's just the way it is. And until they swallow their own eggs and fucking get out of their own way and see that this is the way it needs to go. And just like Hustler said on the last FR podcast, you want to shut me up? Put me on the fucking payroll, because otherwise I'm going to keep telling you exactly the truths that you don't want to hear. And the more you fucking stay dumb, deaf, and blind to them, the more 4 or 5 workers you're going to have on the shelf. Every fucking NXT takeover, every little stupid TLC pay-per-view where you got to do stunts, where you're doing drop toe holds on a kendo stick as the girls. Everybody is an idiot until you shut up and listen to the right way. So keep doing what you're doing. I don't see it. I don't see the plane coming out of the nosedive at any time. Brendo, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Join us. We're just about finishing up here, so you have to go back and listen to the Monday locker room, the last tree standing. But Man Beast, we made it through another one, buddy. Excellent work and commentary as always. What's going on today?
Well, of course, I got to make these old ladies do their squats. But other than that, I'm sure doing some editing, some, video work. So, I got to finish I do have it finished. I'll send it to you. The Hamin sizzle reel, I guess.
I'm loving it. Can't wait.
We'll try to post that up for everybody to see here soon. But just working on some different things. And then, of course, we got the Royal Tenenbaums later tonight. We're going to check that out. And other than that, getting prepared for Rip's FR podcast that we're going to hopefully record some more on Thursday. And for those of you that are patrons and want to send in any questions or mail or what have you, feel free. Rip does have an email now. We got them all set up at riprogersfr@gmail.com. So feel free to send in your questions and comments to the Ripper, and we'll read it online or over the show.
Definitely. riprogersfr@gmail.com. You want to be in contact. Maybe you just need a promo cut on you. Maybe you'll do that before we get the cameo set up this week. So definitely get that mailbag going. And people are just responding so much as we knew they would be. So I just want to say thank you for all the travel and effort you're doing in there to give Rip the shine and the help build that brand from the ground up, man. I appreciate you.
Well, it's been my pleasure, man. It's been a lot of fun, and I feel like we're just scratching the surface on these things, hearing a lot of stories that some of them I've heard, but a lot of these I haven't heard, but it's all good stuff. And there's only one place it can come from, and that's the Ripper.
Absolutely. And there's only one place to get it right now, and that's patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. And now you guys can get the real inside scoop. So once again, riprogersfr@gmail.com, and we'll be checking those emails and maybe add a new little segment to the show. And you never know what might set Rip off, because that's what it is, man, every single time. Great talks this week.
Someone sent in a question about 6-sided rings. I don't think we've brought that up yet, but that's a fun rant from Rip.
You'll fucking go off on that. That's a whole show, man. I'm going to continue 3D printing the rest of the day. And what else we got going to get? Like I said, get a hold of Goldilocks, working on Stevie Ray TV brand, getting that going this week as well for a soft launch. But we know it's holiday season. We know it's crazy politics still. You guys, you're keeping it locked here at Hacker Hamin and Hamin Media Group channels on your iTunes. You're participating in the Discord, the Hamin Media discussion group, all the Russo videos. I also want to say thank you, Man Beast. All those awesome thumbnails that you guys are seeing over on Russo brand YouTube, and we've seen the numbers go up there. Go over there and subscribe. We're clipping out shows. Man Beast is doing these awesome thumbnails. Just great work all the way around. I can't thank him enough, and I want to not just keep that kayfabe. I want to put that out in the public, man, that this guy is a multi-talented performer, producer, and will do any job that's asked of him. And hopefully we can all take a lesson from that and push our own brands forward, you guys. So appreciate my whole staff, man.
No, I appreciate the if I didn't believe in what we're doing, I wouldn't do it. But, it allows me to continue to expand my skill set. I've been having fun doing it. And I'm a big believer in always try to make yourself valuable. So anyway, I can try to enhance my skills because I'm just kind of teaching myself how to do these things. But, the more you do it, the more you continue to increase your skills and increase your value, the more likely that when the finally push comes to shove, an opportunity comes knocking, you're ready for it. And no matter what they ask you to do, yes, sir, I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? So
awesome. Matt Shever says, I love you, Ted. I couldn't agree more, brother. Go over there and you can love Ted too on Hamin Media Group YouTube, 90-minute Broadway versus his partner Adam Revolver with Rip Rogers on commentary, you guys. So not much more left to say here except go to thebrosters.com, ZordosOliveOil.com, and ProWrestlingTees.com, infidels, and get the best products to support Hamin Media Group to keep this shit free, and also on the Patreon as well. It's Hacker Hamin. It's the war gimmick himself, Ted the Trailer McNailer, the Monday Morning Locker Room. Yeah. What's the word? Turds.